The camera pans across a darkened room. A single candle flickers on a wooden table. A tall, gaunt figure sits hunched over, his face half hidden in shadow. His long fingers trace the edge of a folded letter. His eyes are hollow, his expression heavy. This is not the Lincoln of monuments and marble. This is Abraham Lincoln, alone with his thoughts, drowning in silence. The world remembers the speeches, the soaring words, the president who saved the Union. But behind the legend was a man who lived in shadows. A man who carried a sadness so deep his friends feared he might not survive it. A man who, before he became the Great Emancipator, was known by another name. The Man of Melancholy. He was born in 1809 in a one-room log cabin in Kentucky. The dirt floor was cold, the roof leaked when it rained, and poverty was his first companion. His father, Thomas Lincoln, was a stern, restless man. His mother, Nancy Hanks Lincoln, was gentle but frail. When Abraham was 9, tragedy struck. Nancy fell ill with milk sickness, a mysterious disease from tainted cow's milk. Within days, she was gone. The boy stood at the edge of a shallow grave, the autumn wind whipping through the trees. He clutched his sister's hand, his face pale and blank. He did not cry. He simply stared, as if the weight of death had already settled into his bones. From that day forward, Lincoln carried a wound that never healed. Friends later said they could see it in his eyes, a sadness that no smile could erase. As he grew, Lincoln was awkward, lanky, and often withdrawn. He towered over his peers, his clothes hanging loosely on his frame. He was self-taught, devouring books by firelight. Shakespeare, the Bible, Aesop's fables. But even as his mind sharpened, his spirit faltered. He suffered what he called the hypo, short for hypochondria, the word then used for deep, paralyzing melancholy. Sometimes he would sit for hours staring into the distance, saying nothing. Other times he would speak of death as if it were a companion. In 1835 in New Salem, Illinois, Lincoln met Anne Rutledge, a young woman with auburn hair and a gentle smile. For the first time he felt hope. They walked together by the river, talked of books, of dreams, of a future. But fate was cruel. Anne fell ill with typhoid fever. Within weeks she was gone. Lincoln stumbled through the fields, his clothes disheveled, his eyes wild. He muttered to himself, unable to eat, unable to sleep. His friends hid knives and razors, fearing he might harm himself. One later recalled, he was so overcome with mental depression that he never dared carry a pocket knife. The town whispered. Some said he would never recover. He turned to politics, hoping to find purpose. But the world was not kind. He ran for the state legislature and lost. He started a business, and it failed. He ran for Congress, defeated. He ran for the Senate, humiliated. Newspapers mocked him. Rivals called him a country bumpkin, too tall, too awkward, too strange to be taken seriously. Picture Lincoln standing before a small crowd in a dusty town square. His voice trembled as he spoke of unity, of progress, but the crowd laughed. A man heckled, "Go back to your log cabin, Abe." The words cut deep. At night, Lincoln returned to his boarding house, sat by the window, and wrote in his journal, I am now the most miserable man living. If what I feel were equally distributed to the whole human family, there would not be one cheerful face on earth. And yet, in these defeats, something was forged. Lincoln learned resilience the hard way. He learned to endure ridicule, to survive heartbreak, to keep moving forward, even when the weight of his own mind tried to drag him down. By the 1850s, as the nation tore itself apart over slavery, Lincoln's melancholy gave him a strange kind of strength. He understood suffering, he understood loss, and he understood that the fight for freedom would demand sacrifice. But before he could rise, he would fall again. The road to the presidency was paved with rejection, despair, and nights when Lincoln wondered if he could go on. This is the dark side of success. The years of depression and defeat that nearly destroyed Abraham Lincoln before the world ever knew his name. The year is 1858. A crowd gathers in Illinois to hear two men debate the future of the nation. One is Stephen Douglas, polished, confident, a master of rhetoric. The other is Abraham Lincoln, tall, awkward, his voice high-pitched, his frame ungainly. Yet, when Lincoln speaks, something happens. His words cut deeper than appearances. He speaks of slavery not as an abstract issue, but as a moral wound tearing the country apart. The debates between Lincoln and Douglas become legendary. Newspapers across the nation print their exchanges. For the first time, Lincoln's voice carries beyond Illinois, and yet when the votes are counted, he loses another defeat, another scar. To many, it looks like the end of his career. To Lincoln, it is another reminder that his life is a pattern of failure. But here lies the paradox. The very depression that nearly broke him also gave him depth. He was not a man of illusions. He saw the world as it was, brutal, unfair, filled with suffering. And because he saw it so clearly, he could face the greatest crisis in American history with unflinching resolve. 2 years later, in 1860, against all odds, Abraham Lincoln is elected the 16th President of the United States. The nation is already fracturing. Southern states threaten secession. The weight of the Union rests on his shoulders. And once again, the shadows return. The presidency does not cure Lincoln's melancholy, it deepens it. He walks the halls of the White House at night. Alone, his face lit by the glow of a single lamp, he reads poetry, Shakespeare, the Bible. He writes letters he never sends. His cabinet calls him cautious, even hesitant. But Lincoln is not paralyzed by indecision. He is paralyzed by the enormity of the burden he carries. In 1862, tragedy strikes again. His beloved son, Willie, just 11 years old, falls ill with typhoid fever. Lincoln and his wife, Mary, sit by the boy's bedside, helpless, watching as his small body weakens. When Willie dies, Lincoln is shattered. He locks himself in his room, refusing to see anyone. He weeps openly, his shoulders shaking. He was too good for this earth. Mary is inconsolable. She turns to spiritualists, to seances, desperate to hear her son's voice again. Lincoln too attends, sitting silently in the back, his face pale, his eyes hollow. The grief is unbearable, and yet the war rages on. He cannot stop. He cannot rest. He must lead. Every day, reports arrive from the battlefield, thousands dead, thousands more wounded. Lincoln reads the list of names, sometimes aloud, sometimes in silence. He carries the deaths of hundreds of thousands of soldiers like stones in his heart. His face grows gaunt. His eyes sink deeper. He ages decades in just 4 years. And yet through that darkness, Lincoln finds a strange kind of power. His depression gives him empathy. His defeats give him patience. His suffering gives him the ability to endure when others would have broken. When he delivers the Gettysburg Address in 1863, the speech lasts barely 2 minutes. Just 272 words. But those words echo through history. They are not the words of a triumphant man. They are the words of a man who has walked through despair and still believes in hope that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. When he signs the Emancipation Proclamation freeing millions of enslaved people, it is not the act of a politician chasing glory. It is the act of a man who knows what it means to suffer and who cannot bear to see millions enslaved. By 1865, the war is nearly over. The Union is saved. Slavery is dying. Lincoln has carried the nation through its darkest hour, but he has paid the price. His body is frail, his face lined with sorrow. He has given everything. On April 14th, 1865, he attends a play at Ford's Theater. He sits in the presidential box, his wife beside him. For the first time in years, he allows himself to relax. He laughs at the actor's lines. He leans back in his chair, and then a gunshot. John Wilkes Booth fires a single bullet into the back of his head. The laughter stops. The nation plunges into mourning. Lincoln's life is cut short, but his legacy endures. He is remembered as one of the greatest leaders in history. Yet behind the marble statues and the history books lies the truth. Abraham Lincoln's greatness was born from his pain. He was a man who battled depression so deep it nearly consumed him. A man who faced defeat after defeat, humiliation after humiliation. And yet, he rose. This is the dark side of success. This is the story of Abraham Lincoln. Depression and defeat.